Yo, what's going on, everybody? Appreciate you tuning back in. Hope everybody's doing well. I hope nobody's been watching their coin market cap too hard today because we're in a pretty serious downtrend. I was going to do a video today on Profit Trailer and PT Feeder. I was going to upload some new settings. I'm going to hold off on that until tomorrow, maybe till Saturday, just because of the market we're in. I don't want people to kind of get the wrong impression of me releasing some settings and people thinking, these are some magic settings to, avoid bags. If this market continues in the way that we're going right now, we're definitely all going to be stuck in some heavy negative bags. And I don't want that to be, it's just the way it is. So I apologize. But basically one thing I wanted to note is if you're using a BTC pair, for example, your bot is probably able to make a few decent trades. Like there are some coins that are falling quite a bit slower than Bitcoin, and even some coins have sort of seen an okay rise at certain points in the day. Definitely, not comparatively to the USD, but if you're trading Bitcoin pairs, the whole point is to increase your Bitcoin position. Now, your US dollar value is definitely going to decrease in a market like this. As you can see, if you go to the US dollar, everything is negative. And so that's definitely something to be aware of. But if you're trading with, if you're trading with USDT pairs, Tether, you're definitely negative today and you're just in negative bags and it sucks. But if you're trading with Bitcoin pairs today, Bitcoin has been falling, slower than some of the other coins in respect to the US dollar, but then there's been some coins that have been falling slower than Bitcoin. So, like EOS is 9% better than Bitcoin today. So that's good. You have 2% here with Cardano. You have a 14%, well, that's Tether. So that one's not fluctuating much. But a lot of these coins, if you even look at their daily charts here, which these aren't super accurate, you'd have to go into trading view, but there's definitely been some swings, 5, 6, 7% swings throughout the day. So it's not impossible to make money. You just have to have conservative settings. But we're just going to do Bitcoin TA real quick. I'm going to kind of breeze through this. This is one of my old Elliott waves that we drew. Everybody's familiar with this. This is more of like the macro super cycle that we drew. One thing I do like to do is go in and get a date range for how long this took. And so as you can see, this took about 153, 154 days for the upward bull market. And for our downward trend that we're experiencing now up until today, we're sitting at about 102 days. So I just like to look at this just for reference because not always, but they tend to be somewhat symmetrical, right? The bull market generally is about the same length of time as a bear market. Not always, they're not always the same. Sometimes you have your final bear market and then you kind of go and trade sideways for a while. So it just all depends on how you sort of calculate this, where you drag it to. Do you count this as the end of the bear market? If this is our bottom, then maybe you would count that, and then this would be sideways trading. But just to keep that in mind, you can go back and look at 2013, 2014, previous bull and bear markets and kind of get an idea. I don't like to look at the past too much because the market was completely different. It was more illiquid, so there was a lot less volume. There was less retail investors, less institutional investors. There's just less media about all of these cryptocurrencies than there are now. So this is just something I like to briefly look at, just to give you guys an idea. But anyway, so this is our 5 wave up, this one right here to our $20,000 mark. And then obviously with Elliott cycles, you're going to have your ABC correction. And I'm going to give you guys 2 quick scenarios. This is how I was calling it before, kind of like an irregular ABC correction. And this would have made sense if we didn't have this, whole thing, because our ABC leg, you have your 5 legs down. And if this is a true ABC correction, the C leg would be the bottom. And it's clear that this has gone quite a bit lower. We're cutting through a lot of support lines that we thought were there. and it's just the way it is. So I actually did a little digging in a little deeper, and I found that this impulsive wave up here, this B wave, was actually this, we peaked out a bit higher on this first leg up than we did in our second. This was a double top up here. But the reason I'm going to switch this to the B is so we can draw our 5 legs down and get an idea of where this could stop. So what we'll do is we'll have our 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we could have our 5 come down this way. And this is a little irregular, a little ugly, and I think I drew that wrong, actually. I definitely drew that wrong. So this definitely looks better to me. So you might be saying like, oh, this doesn't look right. You know, this 2 wave might be above the 0. Well, it's within a couple $100 actually. And technically this is valid, valid Elliott wave correction. I know it's cutting it close, and it makes me a little nervous to kind of call this count, but it just makes more and more sense as we see it play out. If you believe this is the A and this is the B top, and then our C wave is still playing out somewhere. And so I think our C wave is going to continue to climb lower over the next day or two. We're on the 4-hour chart. What I want to do is get a Fibonacci retracement from bottom to top so we can see where we might end up. So as you can see here, at the bottom of our A wave, our Elliott corrective A wave here, we almost reached this 78.6% mark from our all-time highs. And so that is a very deep correction, and that tends to happen in Bitcoin in previous corrections. And we definitely had some deep support down here. This is at Bitcoin bottomed out around 6,000. The 78.6 is around 5,600. So that's something to think about. If we don't double bottom, so like there's 2 kind of options here. We could double bottom and see this act as just super strong support. We double bottom here, and then we kind of trade sideways, consolidate, because we've definitely lost steam. If you go back to the market cap, we're sitting at 256 billion. Like, this is a tiny market still. There's a lot of Fortune 500 companies that are worth quite a bit more than this. And that's pretty wild, because there's almost 1,600 companies that comprise the cryptocurrency market, right? I mean, they're not all companies. Some of them are, currencies and whatever, but you get the idea. This is still a very tiny market. It's good to see Bitcoin dominance is up pretty high, but that's one of the options. We could double bottom, or we could see this C leg go down to about 5,500 maybe, or 5,800. I would say is like a better bet. 5,700 is right on this 78.6 line, and I think there should be a lot of support here. And the reason I say that is if you go back in time, and I'm just going to draw a line here, previous support or previous resistance is future support, and we can see that here. We're bouncing off this resistance line. We go below, we test it again, we finally get up above it, access support, we're still above it, and then we launch up, we come back down to that same 78.6% line, and then we bounce back up again above it. That's very, very solid support now. And it's acted that way ever since. And so I think that once we get down to these levels, as we saw when we hit the $6,000 mark, people definitely start to say, okay, this seems a bit cheap. And as you look at the RSI, we're looking very, very oversold. And we can continue to see that. That doesn't mean that this can't continue downward, and it looks like it is at the moment. But I think that this region right here offers a pretty good short-term trade opportunity, even for long-term holding. If you're long on Bitcoin, I think this would be a great buying opportunity. I'm not telling you what to do with your own cash, but this is just my thoughts. But as always, I could be wrong. I've been wrong in the past once or twice. But anyway, so the next thing I wanted to get into is like, okay, this all seems super depressing. We're all going to cry. It's going to continue to go down. Everybody thinks Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets are over because just look, 20,000, it seems so far away. Well, I disagree, and we're just going to like shotgun fire through some news here. We're going to try and do this in a couple minutes. So I think that there is huge opportunity for crypto in the coming weeks, coming months, and the next couple years. So South Korea's largest multi-billion-dollar conglomerate is entering the cryptocurrency market. They're basically buying up tons of the country's leading corporations have funded exchanges as Corbit, Bithumb, Upbit. They're involved in all sorts of different stuff. You can read this article. I guess I could post it in the description if you want to read this, but there's tons and tons of money just about to be flooding in. These major corporations are getting involved in crypto. Let's see. Japan plans to launch the crypto exchange in 2019 after a $19 million buyout. This is just more good news. And it's funny because none of this good news is being shown since Bitcoin is in this downward spiral. And I think we're going to get to one of the articles that says this is all a way of the institutional investors kind of shorting the current crypto markets right now. So they have a way better buying opportunity to get in. When the cryptocurrency market cap is at 256 billion and you have Korea's largest multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, and that is just one conglomerate in one country, cryptocurrency is global, then you know that manipulation can happen. They can come in and they can put in, $1 billion in shorts or whatever they want to do, in futures, however they want to do it. And they can really manipulate the market. They kind of control news outlets too. And none of these news outlets, none of these news reports are getting any traction. And this is all really good news. So Toronto Stock Exchange operator to launch cryptocurrency brokerage platform. This is huge. This is kind of like, the Robinhood of Canada, I guess. I don't really know. I didn't look too much into that. But South Korean investors to buy crypto exchange Bitstamp. This is one of the oldest exchanges. $400 million acquisition. This is huge. The same thing happened with Poloniex a few weeks ago. You hardly hear anything about it, which is kind of sad, but this is all really, really good news. These big companies are coming in with big dollars and they're buying up crypto assets, and not just the coins, but they're buying the businesses behind the coins. And I think that's really smart. If you have the money to do that, it's really smart. Back during the gold rush, they said the people who made the most money were the people selling the pickaxes and the mining equipment, not the people actually mining. So I think that's smart too. But there's a lot of people who got really rich from mining gold. So I think there's just a lot of opportunity in this space. So it says, this is one, all hell will break loose. The crypto market will boom again in 2018, according to the CEO of American Express-backed startup Abra. So this is American Express has backed a company called Abra, and this is the CEO, and he's saying he talks to hedge funds, high net worth individuals, commodity speculators, and they look at the volatility in the crypto markets and they see it as a huge opportunity. Once that happens, all hell will break loose. Once the floodgates are open, they're open, and all the institutions will jump in, and it's just going to be wild when that does happen. Here's another one. The risk of cryptocurrencies are laid bare. Basically, this article starts off kind of negative, and I was like, oh, shoot, this is going to be another negative article. But it says, Andrew Pritchard, managing director of Blockspace, and talking to Capital.com on behalf of the easy access crypto company's 10x growth account, believes that a bubble is forming and could be all over in 18 months as institutional and retail investors pile into crypto. Only a small percentage of the population have any exposure to the cryptocurrency market. He says there's not a lot of money in there yet, just what I've been preaching for a while. The institutional players are on the sidelines, and he believes possibly even manipulating the market as they prepare to enter. And this is what I was talking about a minute ago. He expects the market to take off again, and as the name of the account suggests, it could drive asset growth by tenfold. That's really, really big news. These are all really high net worth individuals. This one's crazy. $1 trillion institutional investor catches the Bitcoin fever. So this is a fund, a hedge fund that claims to have $1 trillion in assets. I don't think it's a hedge fund. I think it's just a wealth management company. But yeah, so this is big news. All these news articles haven't even hit mainstream at all. It just is what it is. So with that said, guys, hit the like button, Subscribe to the channel if you want more content. I'll do a profit trailer and PT feeder video for you in the next coming days. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.